Hi, everyone. Happy Monday. Happy Monday. I don't know why I always have to sing that every time it's Monday. Happy, joy. Happy Monday. Welcome, everybody. Hope you had a great weekend. We always look forward to Monday Jumpstart, getting together and hanging out with some of our best friends, whether they're old time, long time, or new friends. We welcome new people all the time because we love meeting new crafty friends. Hi, Margie. Hi, Sarah. Hey, Glennis. Hi, Sylvia. Good to see you. Sylvia, I'm glad you're out of bed and alive. I know you had a crazy busy weekend. With me today is Dawn Marie up there.
Hi, everyone.
And Carrie up there. Hi, Jen. Hello. I know Jen's working. She's got us in one ear somewhere or on her eyeball and a work in her ear. So one of the things that I realized I need to do with my organization, as I've been overhauling the studio and decluttering. And by the way, I have decluttered over 1,000 items from the house. Woohoo! Excited about that. So it looks like I might hit 2025 before the middle of the year. And so then I can go for another 2025. I'd love to get 5,000 items. So, and we can talk about that another time. I know people have questions of like, how are you getting 1,000 items? What are you counting? How do you count things? Does size matter? Does number of things in a set or stuff like that? We can talk about that another time if people are interested. Not bragging, Sylvia. I'm very excited because I'm seeing a dent in some things that needed to be taken care of. But more so, I know that if I keep my goal in front of you, I'm going to keep working on it because you're going to hold me to it. And if I don't tell you about it, you're going to pop up and go, whatever happened to that decluttering project you were doing? So I know it's my way of holding my own feet to the fire is by telling you, keeping you posted, because I know that keeps me accountable and I'm going to get it done. Yeah, Jen, you could do that. You kind of count your clothes, and it's not too late to start.
Yeah.
Thanks, Margie. Yeah, I've done that too. I really, really want to do this, and so I want myself to be accountable. I don't want to give myself an out on it. That's why I'm doing that. So anyway, we've all been really working on our studios and organizing that, decluttering. Really looking at what we have, what we have, what we want, are the things that we don't want or don't need anymore because our tastes have changed or what we are focused on has changed, and decluttering and making space for maybe something new that we do really, really want. So we all have embossing folders, and over the past 2 to 3 years, I have downsized my embossing folders at least twice. Twice, and then a private sale to a nameless person in HPP who happens to be in chat. Picked out, a whole bunch of very special ones for her. Then I kept seeing others and going, oh, she'd like this, I'll throw that in. Oh, she'd like this, I'll throw that in. Anyway, thank you, Margie. Appreciate your support. So I am down to, I have somewhere over 300 embossing folders at this point. And I know that I can still cut down from there because I don't need 300 embossing folders. I don't know what it is, like 340 or something like that. But so I will be going through them one more time. And then I think I'm going to put them in bundles and contribute them to the retreat auction. And Glennis, I just found that I have 2 of the same one, and it happens to be steampunk clocks. I didn't think I had any steampunk that I would let go because I don't have that many. But I just found one, so that'll be in the retreat sale. So keep an eye on it. So anyway, I have one of the very first things I did years ago when I started collecting crafting supplies, stamps, dies, and embossing folders. one of the very first things that I did was organize the embossing folders because I started getting so many. That's when I thought I was going to be only a card maker, and thought, well, I need 1,000 embossing folders because you can't do the same card over and over again, right? I need to have lots and lots of variety of cards. So I thought I needed every embossing folder that was out there. So that's why I had so many. But one of the first things that I did was organize the embossing folders. That I realize now that after I have decluttered and let so many of those go, that I need to, I want to keep the same system. It's a great system. It works. That's kind of a cool one there. It's a great system. However, I need to redo it or update it, I guess you could say, because some of the ones that I had in there are not there, and I've got new ones since then. Yes, I needed new ones. Lisa Hortons are awesome. So I'm going to show you how I organize and the system that I use for my embossing folders. And then Carrie and DM are also working on theirs, and their systems may be just a little bit different than mine. And we also have other ideas of things that we've seen or heard about that might work for you. So the first thing that I do is go through all my embossing folders and make a sample. So that's what I'm doing right now. There's the embossing folder. Behind it is a sample. I'm just making a sample and putting it into this container. And then I'll move to the next container and the next container. So I've got this many already sampled. But I'm going to do all of that first before I do the next step. While I'm doing that, I'm thinking that maybe I want to group them together, like all holiday, or maybe all Christmas and winter go together, all other holiday go together, or maybe just Halloween. I don't have a lot of other holidays, I don't think. Just things that might have a similar theme could go together. But it doesn't really matter. I didn't do that before, and now I have less embossing folders. So the next step, what I did before, and this is why it needs to be updated, is I like these are simple stories, but lots of companies have these. And they're just photo holders for like 4x6 photos. And they have 2 holes here so that you could put them into a binder, a 2-ring binder, just a small binder, and flip through and see your photos. So what I did, because sometimes after you emboss these, they might be a little bit fragile. That's a pretty one with butterfly and swirlies. Now, I will also say that I'm embossing on just cheap cardstock. It's a good way to use my cheap cardstock. And sometimes an embossing folder will cut the cheap cardstock like that. I am leaving that as I put it in my sample so that when I choose to use this, I will see it. And I will remember when I use that for real, I want to use good quality cardstock so that it won't do that. This is literally just real cheap, thin, cardstock. So that reminds me. And so it's important for me to leave that there. Gladys says, we'll sing. No. Oh, that's, you guys are funny. 12 flowers, butterflies, lace, etc. Right, Margie? Yeah. Okay. So these have some things written on it from previously, or from previous. I kind of wish that I hadn't done that. I remember when I did it, and I was very first starting, and I thought it needs to be bold so I can see it easily as I flip through it, but I wish I'd done it just a little bit neater. I'm not going to put a label on every single one of them. And if I really didn't like this, I could just cut it off and I could write it small up here, without that. Some of the ones that I had previously, I still have, and I'm keeping, and they already have a number on them. Like number two. The F just told me where it was. I'm not going to use the F this time because it's not applicable. But it's number 2 and number 2. And I'm not putting them in the sleeves until I get everything embossed, because like number 1 is gone. Number 3 and 4 are gone. And then I have number 5. And there's 5. And then number 7. And so I'm not going to cross these out and write a new number on it. I will just fill in where a number needs to be. So let me give you an example of how it will work when it's all done. Let's see. I just did 9 and 10. So I happened to keep both 9 and 10, dominoes and daisies. They weren't alphabetical. They just happened to be D's. So I will start with 1, and I'll take 1 and 2, 3 and 4, 5 and 6, 7 and 8. So then 9 and 10 go in one sheet. So I'll take 9 and 10, and I put them back to back. And I'll put them in my sleeve that holds a 4x6. Now, if you have larger embossing folders,
like that domino one.
I do too. It's fun. If you have large embossing folders and you want to keep them all the same size, you can just emboss a portion of it and keep them all 4x6. You can also do them different sizes. We'll talk about that again more as we're going along. So there is 9 and 10. Okay, and so there is 9 and 10. So when we're all done, all of the embossing folders are going to be in 2 containers like this, maybe 3, depending. It won't take quite as much space because all the paper will be out of here and all this plastic will be out of here. But they'll go in order, in numerical order, 1 through 300, whatever is there. And then I take these, not to you yet, so don't fall over on here. Let's pretend that this is another one. Then I'll just take all of these in order. This would be 1 and 2. So the 2 would be backwards. Oh, never mind. It's not going in. And I'll take them all. They'll all have their samples in there. And then I have this giant ring, and I put them on this ring. Okay, and so then I'll have 1 through... Hi, Betty. Good to see you. Welcome, welcome. I'll have 1 through however many I have. And so the sample is numbered, and then the embossing folder itself has the same number, 9 and 9. And so I don't have to go through all the embossing folders and pull this out every single time I want one. I'll take this and just hang it on my pegboard. And by the time I get them all in there, it's pretty full. It's got this many. I don't want it to be completely full because I want to have room that as I'm flipping through them, I can just do this and just flip through them and find, what I want. And as I flip through and see what I want, then I can go, okay, that's number 9. I can just walk over to the shelf, flip through here, pull out number 9, and away we go. So this is a great way if you have a lot of embossing folders. If you've got more than 30, it works even if you have a few because you don't have to go through them. You can just sit at your desk, your station, wherever you are, and look through these and compare all of them and make the decision before you go grab the embossing folders. So this is not to say that you need to have a lot to use this. You don't. It works on any, but it especially is helpful when you have a lot because you really don't want to spend a ton of time flipping through all of them. And then what happens is you go, maybe this one, and you pull it out. You keep going. Well, maybe this one, pull it out, keep going, because you've got 100 to go through. So you keep going through all of them. And in the end, you have a whole handful. You finally decide which one you're going to use. And then you need to put all the others back. Don't do it right then because you're in the middle of a project. And so you go use it and do it. And those get set to the side. And then they get set there and then they get piled on top of. And pretty soon you've got embossing folders that are not put back where they should be. And then you can't find them. Now they're buried. So it's just a system that is super easy to use. Finding them, using them, putting back, super easy to use so that you will use it. If it's easy, you'll do it. And it always works. And the only time that it has to change is if I get rid of an embossing folder, then I can take that sample out. I've got some samples here. of ones that I no longer have that I've already found. And Jen, did I send you a chicken wire one? Did I send you chicken wire? Because I don't think I have that one anymore. And I can't believe I let that one go. But I'm thinking that if I did, that maybe it's because I found another one and I had two. So I hope that that is the case. So I can now take these and just cut that little top off and then use these. I could even cut them in half and round the corners or crop the corners. And they make really good little backgrounds for labels, a label on top of them with the embossed piece behind it. So all kinds of, there's a rooster for Wendy, all kinds of different stuff. And I see a with sympathy one there, and I can't believe I got rid of that one either, unless I have another one. Because, yeah, anyway, so that's how I'm doing them. Now, I have multiple sizes. In fact, what I did last night was divide them into containers by size. And I had a reason for doing that, and I don't know if that reason's going to hold up or if I'm going to stick with that. I had a piece of paper with all the sizes, different sizes that I have written down, because I wanted to cut paper that I can use to, where was this? That I can use to emboss them. And so I've got this little container over here, and this just has some cut papers in it. I can trim them down if I need to. There's some big ones, and I've got some extra cardstock right here that I can use if I need to. But I've got a lot of little skinny ones like this. So I brought out a mini die cutter so I can just run those through. I've got larger ones that are 5x7. I've got some of those deep impression ones, Tim Holtz or otherwise. These are actually 5.5x12. And it's one giant embossing folder, and it embosses your score lines, and it's a tri-fold card, which is kind of fun. I only have 4 of those, but I'm kind of anxious to use those. So I will put those, I will do those on a long 5.5x12 piece of paper. A lot of the embossing folders, the only time I've ever used them is to make the image of them. Some of them haven't even had the image made yet. There's little ones and big ones and tall ones and skinny ones. And there's even a set. I remember when I got these, and then I've never tried them, and I've got to do it. This is an Anna Griffin. Pretty sure that these sets were sold on HSN. There's 2 with squares, and there's 2 with ovals. And they've got these little oval plates, and there's 2 packs of little square plates that fit in. So you can emboss these separately and put them in there, but it'll say different things on them. Celebrate the season, joy to the world. Haven't even opened it up, obviously, so don't know what the rest are. Christmas greetings and peace on earth. So I don't know if they're all Christmas or if there's a Christmas one and then, you know, something else behind it. I don't remember. But this embossing folder is really pretty. It's got both sides, and it even has a little border around that center. And so you emboss your paper and you emboss your
QVC or HSN, yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was HSN, but it could have been QVC or it could have been both. Emboss your center, and then you can just put your center right into the center of the card or whatever you're doing. This will actually fit in here to emboss it all together as one. It's supposed to fit right there, not with the plastic in it, but you can see the indent where it will fit. So I haven't even done those as a sample, so I'm excited to try those out. Lots of different kinds that, you know, some of these, like this is a Sizzix, a Tim Holtz, and it's super deep. So I know that if I use cheap cardstock with that, it's going to end up cutting it all over the place. So I would probably, I'll probably use a better quality, thicker cardstock with that. And we'll talk about some of the different things to do or reasons to do them or not do them, as we go along. I even have one that reverses. This is kind of funny, but there's, I don't know how old these are. These are spellbinders. These are cool. It gives you the spot right there to put your label. And that one's different. But this is reversible for Flora B. So you've got Flora A and Flora B. And then I think they go with these. Again, I haven't used them, but I do need to. I have samples of Flora A and Flora B. Oh, look how fun that one is.
Ooh,
lilies. Are those lilies? Oh, yeah, I think they are.
yeah, those are, yes.
Easter lilies.
Easter lilies.
Betty, we all miss Tuesday morning, by the way.
Oh, my goodness.
I
yes.
cry sometimes.
Yes.
I drive by the locations.
I know.
I think that is where I got most of these folders, not even knowing what they were for.
What they were for. Just knowing that they're a craft item and I must need them.
Yep.
And they're beautiful.
Yeah, I've got some that are 6x6 and some just all different sizes and shapes. So I'm debating. The first thing I'm doing is all the ones that are 4x6 because they'll definitely go on a ring together. And there may be enough of those that it fills a ring sufficiently, and I'll do the others on a different ring. I probably have 50 at least of these that are little thin ones. So what I had done the first time around, you can see the samples of some of these. I just left them with the sample till I get to them because some of these were already within my system. What I did before was take one of these and I put 3 of these side by side, and preferably 3 different colors so you could distinctly see that particular pattern. And I put a tiny piece of washi tape on the back of them so they just stayed in place. And then I did 3 more and flipped it around to be the other side. So I can still do that if I want to hang them on the same ring or in the same space on a similar ring. I can put 3 together in that.
I need to know how you use these little ones. I have one.
Okay. And this one's like a maze, and that's cutter bee. That's the same length. This is about 6.5 probably, but it's wider. So, do I put 2 of those into one thing, or do I take all the long skinny ones and put those on a separate ring or something all by themselves? So I don't know. I'm thinking about that while I'm doing, I know that I'm going to do all the ones that are the exact same size because for sure they'll all hang on a ring. Got a whole bunch of these. These are Sizzix Tim Holtz. There's some numbers, some just borders, a little Christmas house. That one says post care with a canceled postage stamp. So a lot of Tim Holtz ones, just tons of different ones. So that's what I'm going to be working on today. First is making the impression of them all to get my system updated. Hi, Jersey. I know. I want to know. I want to ask somebody, ask Margie or Sylvia or Jen or somebody. Can you type in and ask Jersey if she watches this back on the replay? Does it have closed caption for her so that she can hear or read what we're saying? I am curious to know that because that means we could talk to her, and then when she watches it on replay, she'd actually be able to see it. So I hope that it does. I hope it does for her. Thanks, Jen. Appreciate it. They are a lot of fun. So our thought today is that today we'll work on the organizing of them and getting our systems up to date the way we want them. And I'm going to ask Carrie and DM if they want to share anything that they do in addition or different from that. But and then we'll do a future, maybe even as soon as next week. I have a huge list of things that you can do with embossing folders, different ways to use them, because there are so many ways besides just the traditional run a thing through it, use it as a card, front. So lots of fun things that you can do, mixed media, not mixed media. And so we might end up needing a couple of days to go through a lot of those, because there's enough, probably more than we could do just in one. So we're not going to talk a whole lot today about how we use them. However, we will do some Monday jump starts on how to use embossing folders and different ways to use them. But we're happy to answer questions as we go, because nobody's doing this one today. But DM brought this up to me the other day, and I thought it was a great idea. And then last night, I thought, well, let me look around and see what other people do, because I've always had it this way, and this system works for me really well. But I saw one video where somebody had embossed a sample of each one and then put them together. And then they had taken them somewhere because they didn't have a cinch machine, and they had cut the holes, and then they had spiral bound it. So they had a little book with the samples in. And that cool. Also works wonderfully if you think you're never going to add another embossing folder, because, right. It's harder to add to it. Even doing that and putting smaller rings, not these gigantic ones, but smaller rings, making 2 or 3 or even 4 if you wanted holes over there, based on how large they are. You could do, ring binding so that you could flip them over, but then you could always pull out, add to, that kind of thing. So DM, what are you doing with yours, just as far as your storage and organizing system?
Okay, storage and organizing. I have this right here. Let's see if this, I just organized all these in here, and they fit perfectly.
Let them know approximately how many you have so they can know if they relate to what they have.
Maybe 40.
Okay.
Maybe. I have, and then I keep like the smaller ones together. And these right here, which you had in your hand earlier, I have actually jumbo clipped with them so that I can just grab them out, because they fall underneath and get stuck underneath the other folders.
Yes, they do.
And I have some old Cuttlebug dies in here, only because they didn't fit in with my other dies, and they're like really tiny, and there's smaller things in here, so they're easy to see if they're in here. But this basically does all of has all of them in it, and there's actually still some room
for a few.
Maybe, put, well, all the ones that I've done so far are over to the side.
Okay.
So, and then these are from Target, and they go into a square that's 13 by 13. And you pull them in and out. It's like,
so they're like drawers.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. So, the 3 drawers that I have together are this one, my Sizzix thick die that somebody gave me, a whole box of them, but the box was small. So I was able to put that in with some other dies. And then...
hi, Sarah, by the way, just in case you have to leave before she's done talking, wanted to say hi to Sarah.
Oh, hi, Sarah. So yeah, this is what I just started using.
Okay,
look,
so
there's 2 more plates that I could be using.
Once you've got an impression of each of them, what are you going to do with your sample impressions?
So I have, let me get them. I've had these paper things for a long time. And so what I'm going to do is that I'm going to make a 3 ring bound book. I'm going to put them onto just plain paper, but I'm only going to, like, the little corner holders for pictures. I'm going to put just 2 and then slide those into there so that I can look and see what the back looks like. On the other,
yes,
or
the debossing.
The debossing. I may cut them in half and just glue both of them. You know what I mean? Like like this so that you can see both sides. I haven't decided yet. And then they have already mounted little tags. So I was thinking, because I don't have very many die cuts,
Dies?
I might put this and the die cuts into this one folder.
You mean your dies, right?
My
The metal-
dies,
the metal
my
dies?
cuttings of my dies,
Yeah.
so that I know what I have.
Okay.
So,
Margie,
but
I
don't
still
know.
have my
We'll see
kettlebell
how thick
too.
this one is when
That'll be cool.
I finish it. And I do, Marianne, I have that one. I already did it.
This one? Awesome.
And I probably will organize them somehow, whether I put a number on. Like, I was thinking I was actually going to put a little flag at the top.
Mm-hmm.
You know, one of the sticky note flags, and put a number on that, so I'll be able to find them easier in this box. So I'll be able to go right directly to them.
And you're going to ring bound, not spiral bound, right?
Right, I'm going to ring
So
bind
you
it.
can add to it.
So I'll be able to add to it, and I'll be able to also take them out and change them around if I need
Right.
to.
Yeah. Yeah. Margie, the Cuttlebug was the very first one I ever got as well years ago, and I still have it, and I still use it with my recent shoulder surgeries. Today I'm using the Big Shot Switch, which is the electric one. Now, right before I put this one in, some of you saw me spray that just with a little spritz of water. The reason I did that is because this is really thick, a good heavy quality cardstock. I have a whole bunch that's already cut. It was already cut that I found in my stash. And so I'm just going to use up what is already cut that's close enough to the size. And so this is a nice, heavy, thick one. And when you do a heavy one, I really like the debossed sides too. They just look cool. If you do that and it's a nice deep impression on a thick one, if it's dry, sometimes it cracks the paper and it cuts through. So just a little spritz of water will make the fibers more pliable. As it goes through, it'll stretch and it'll emboss without destroying your paper. So there's no cutting whatsoever on that. I did not do this one because this one isn't as thick and heavy of a cardstock. This one has tons of writing. It's at Tim Holtz. So it's very, very full, but this isn't as thick and heavy. So I didn't do that on that one. So I do not spritz on every single one, only the ones that I think will need it based on either the texture impressions that are very deep or the using a cardstock that is a heavier, thicker type. So this was a 6x6. And it's got a lot of extra hanging over the edge there. I'm just going to cut that off so it'll fit in with the rest in my system. And I'm going to hang on to that because that looks just right about the right size for one of those strip embossing folders. So it's also longer. There. Carrie, how about your system?
Well, I purchased these binders with
Ooh.
the 6 rings, and they come with envelopes. These are just some extra ones that I cut because I didn't have enough of the right size. And you put your stuff in there and pull the elastic around, and it holds everything together. As far as organization goes, I have 12 folders, so I haven't devised a organization system yet because I can just look through all 12.
Yeah.
So
Have you do you have an idea of how many you could fit in each of those binders?
probably about comfortably maybe 8.
Okay. So you
So I would
could
have to-
organize them like this binder is, I don't know, holidays, this one's word,
Right.
this one's whatever, if you wanted to. Or
True.
you could put a label on the front of it just with a general idea of the variety that's in it. So you don't have to go through the whole binder, but be able to just look at the front of the binders.
Right.
Mhm.
yeah, that would be perfect.
So you're putting the embossing folders in there, and where are you putting, what are you going to do with your impressions?
They go right under my desk. I have a 6 one of those square units with 6 cubbies in it.
Oh, yeah.
And right under my desk, and then I have a bucket that currently holds my cutting dies, because I organize those the same way.
Hmm.
And there's room enough for those 2 binders in here, and it's right under my desk. It's right
Perfect.
handy, and yeah, can reach it easy.
So all the impressions, are they staying in the folder or the binders with the embossing folders, or are you keeping
I have no
those
idea. You just gave me the idea to make one of each. So
now, because I'm using the switch, it has a 9-inch wide plate. I think it's the widest I've
nice.
seen so far, which is why I got it.
Yeah,
but I'm putting
nice.
2 at a time through here. And
Sweet.
most of my, like I have the big shot. I think that's 6 inches wide. I have my Cuttlebug, that's 6 inches wide. So with those, if you have a long plate that is 6 inches wide, you can put 2 through, but otherwise you put 1 through. It doesn't matter, because I have so many, I just want to get them done. And I don't know how much of a difference it makes, because I haven't worked with embossing folders enough that I feel confident to tell you. But I know that Tim always says that when you put your dies through, your embossing folders through, instead of putting them straight through like this, he says if you put them at a little bit of an angle, so as they come in, they're not going straight, that they tend to cut better.
Yep.
So
Oh, really? Okay.
super easy to do that. Just a slight angle. It doesn't need a whole lot. It just so it's not straight. So I'm doing that. Now, the other thing that you want to keep in mind, if you're doing more than one, so even using a smaller one like my Cuttlebug with a 6-inch wide, when I get down to doing these skinny ones or some of these small ones, I can put multiples of these on the same plate before putting them in. But something to keep in mind that I remember here, if these are the same brand, I know that they're probably going to be about the same thickness. Yeah. If I put this one and this one, which is a Sizzix, what they call it, texture impressions or something, it's nice, deep, thick. If I put that one and that one through, this one is never going to get cut. It will never get embossed. Because look at that. Well, you can see there. But it's behind it almost, because this whole thing is as thick as just this section right here. So you want to make sure that if you're doing more than one at a time, that they are about the same thickness, and also with the paper that you're not using a heavy cardstock on one and a thin on another. Otherwise, they're not going to get a good quality cut, just because you can only shim for the biggest one, the thickest one. So I try to just do kind of like the same brand. I know that they're going to be the same thickness. And if they're not the same brand, I'll just set them on here side by side and just bump them up to each other. And I can tell those are the same thickness. So good to go. A pretty little tree. Once you start making impressions like this, you look at them and you go, oh yeah, I can think of great things to do with those, or nice cards to make.
Right.
Oh, I have never even used this one, and it's so cute. And no, I won't part with it. It's a flower fairy.
Oh,
I know, we all love the flower fairies, and there's a flower fairy. Maybe I will make a whole bunch of them and put them in with bundles to sell for the auction, just for the retreat thing. Or I could put them in racks.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, racks.
Right now, my mind is focused on getting ready for that retreat sale, so that's why that keeps coming to mind. But so I have a lot of these Doris Sizzix.
Why do you need a sample? I can see the designs better on the folder than I can see on the paper.
Okay. The reason I do a sample is because I have so many. And if I'm going to flip through all of those folders, it's going to take me forever. And I'm just going to be frustrated. And if I want to do a project, I want to find something quickly and do it. I don't want to spend an hour going through 300 of those. So if I have all the samples on here and I can just flip through them like that and find what I want, then I can just go grab the embossing folder I want. That's why I do it, just because I want to be able to see it ahead of time. It is helpful, even if you don't do that, if you keep your sample with it and you like to flip through the folders, it's good to have that sample so that, for example, like the one that I cut or embossed that came out cut, because it was a cheap, a thin cardstock, wherever it is. Here's one that did that. This one cut. Even if I keep this one with the embossing folder, it's helpful to me to keep this because then it reminds me, use a good quality cardstock to get a good imprint, not something cheap that's just going to cut. So it doesn't have to be separate in order to do that. I would just want to know that. Where is it? There it is.
Betty, no, it does not adjust to the different thicknesses. I have to put shims in. Like some of mine are super thin folders that are super cheap, don't even have a name on them. I have no idea who they are from. Those I have to put a shim in. And what I'm doing is I just actually picked a piece of cardstock to throw in there between the two plates that I have in already.
Rented one that just automatically adjusts to the thickness. That would be
amazing.
Cool.
Does it exist?
I don't know.
There's one that you can dial the pressure. You can.
Okay, that
I don't know which one that is, but yeah.
I'm all for that. That sounds really cool.
Yeah.
I'm sure it would cost a pretty penny, but because that's a step above. The electric was supposed to be a step above our cranks, and that would be a step
rather
above
than an ugly dime.
So yeah, we were talking about this before we went live, but your die cutting machines, embossing machines, they always come with the different plates that you need, and you might acquire other plates. Like a magnetic plate is great if you're using dies, especially little dies, because they magnetize to that. They don't end up flying all over the place. Oh, look at that. It's a fire in a fireplace. How cute.
Really?
Yeah. But, sometimes those dies, those plates, they can't be exact to every single die that you have. Or every single embossing folder, because they're different thicknesses for different brands and different styles. So it's just good with your plates that you have. Like DM had a piece of cardstock or chipboard. Keep 2 or 3 pieces of chipboard of varying thicknesses, and then sometimes if I have to, I'll even take a piece of thin chipboard and fold it in half and press it down, but that makes just enough. Sometimes I just need to add a little piece of cardstock in there just for that tiny little bit more, pressure that you need. If you put it through and you don't get a good impression, then that the reason is because it wasn't tight enough. It's not that your machine is bad, it's not tight enough. So you can just leave it in the embossing folder. I had a couple that I even lined up and put back in the embossing folder. I have to do it again. And boy, that's much louder coming backwards. And then just add a shim. If you're using a manual one that you are cranking, it should be tough when you first put it in. It should be tough. You should have to work a little to get it in there, and then keep it cranking. But Yeah, it needs to be tight. Otherwise, you're not going to get a good emboss. So that is cool. So there's a fireplace, and that side is embossed, so the fire sticks out, and the bricks, this side is debossed. Sometimes I like the debossed sides. These two butterflies are really cool. They kind of remind me of fairies. Yeah, I'll pull out that flower fairy one again, Betty. You know, you don't look at these for a while. It's just like all of our other stuff. If you don't use them for a while, you forget what you have. I've things that I organized like 2 or 3 weeks ago and put away. I come across again while I was organizing. There's the folder.
Oh my gosh. I never
adorable.
noticed that.
What is it? Oh, that embosses and cuts at the same time.
And cuts at the same time.
That's a Tim Holtz, right?
Yes.
I love those. I have a couple
Very
of them.
cool.
Yeah, the die stays in the embossing folder.
I
Oh,
never
so
even
nice.
saw that.
Cuts the shape and embosses it at the same time.
Oh,
Brilliant.
so nice.
There she is cut.
Sweet. She's adorable.
I was like, darn it, like cut it. I didn't want it to take it out of that. And then I would like look,
And then you
there's
look at it, ah, it's embossed. That's cool. Yeah.
Well, these little ones also go through this, which is my little
Yes.
side stick.
I brought a little one out too, so when I do those skinny ones, I don't have to use the big one. But then I might just line up a dozen of them on the big one.
Yeah.
I love these little medallions. I love that heart you have. I don't have the heart one.
Oh, that's
You'll have to
gorgeous.
cut me a bunch of hearts, and I'll cut you some medallions. But the
It's
medallions
hard
are
and a really pretty four-leaf.
Oh, I
clover.
want that one.
Really, really pretty four-leaf.
oh,
clover.
that is pretty.
Oh,
Let me
that's
see the
amazing.
heart. Oh, I like that heart.
Yeah.
Oh, can you bring that embossing folder with you?
Yes.
We can sit and cut some of those and some of these.
Yep. Let me write it on the back of this. Need to bring to retreat.
Yeah, I'll put those aside. Okay, still working through all the ones that are 4x6.
I'm done.
Here's a bingo card embossing folder.
Cool.
And
I think I have the bingo card too.
all kinds of
I just haven't
coffee
gotten to it yet.
stains. I love those medallions too, Jen. They're really awesome. Do them out of some really pretty paper, and they really look cool. Okay, so it's not gonna stay. Stand it up there. All right, bingo card. I don't really care what color they are. They're only the sample. I just want to use up some of this that's already cut, sitting around. So at least it has some use. It doesn't just go into my scrap box, because that just makes more solid color scrap and makes more stuff that I have to make with that. I know we're gonna get in another day with different things that you can do with your embossing folders, and this is probably something that I wouldn't put on that list, because it's really just a helpful hint for when you're making a sample to be able to see it. But sometimes, and you might want to make all these on white. I don't know. What? Hang on. Let me get this going there. Some people prefer to do all their samples on white. So if you put them on a light color or even a dark color, and you can't really see them well, or they're very detailed and you want to see a little more detail, then I like keeping them raw as they are, because then I know exactly how it comes out of the embossing folder. And I know I can add all kinds of stuff to it. But if it's a problem to see, even see the design, and you can't, you're looking at this piece of paper and you can't see the design. Oh, wow, that turned out great. That bingo card, look at that.
Oh, yeah, that's neat.
If it's a problem to even see the design, you can take an ink pad and just super gently rub it across the top and get just a little bit of ink that's grabbed by all your raised edges. That helps them stand out just so that you can see it. So
That's a great idea, and I need to try that just for
I
fun.
Yeah, and you know that's one of the cool things to do with them after they're done. I prefer to, if I'm doing it for the purpose of seeing the imprint, I prefer to do that after it's embossed rather than before. Because if I do it before, I'm going to be making the whole piece of paper colored. And then when I emboss it, I still might not see the impression as well as I want to. So
not if you put the ink on the actual
embossing folder.
leaf. Yeah.
That's a technique for different things.
Right.
But yeah, if I just want to see the raised part to be able to see my image, then I'll just run it over the top of. And if it's dark like this, you could run something light like a white or a silver, or this doesn't even need it. It shows up really, really nicely. But let's see how those coffee stains showed up. Oh gosh, look how cute these coffee stains are.
Oh, I definitely will want that.
Wow.
Take those out individually.
You probably could. You could cut them out. It's just a whole bunch of them. That's cute though. Cute little background for something.
Here's another reason to do your embossing as a thing when you have it, to have them. It's because I knew this was dragonflies, but I had no idea there were gears in there.
Oh. So you might go, well, and that reminds me of something else. If you're in a project and you go grab the one that has dragonflies and you use it and you get it, and then you're like, wait a minute, there's gears in there. This is the farthest thing from steampunk. I do not want steampunk in there. It's supposed to just be frilly and nice and, garden.
Yeah.
Right. Then you've already put it on and, but the other thing is like mine that cut, if I grab it and I use it and I go to make it and then it ruins it, it cuts the paper, then I have to do it again and figure that out. If I have that sample, a lot of those things I can bypass. Know exactly
right. You know
what and how.
Yeah.
Something dropped. I don't know what it was.
All right.
My whole desk was shaking anyway, so it's probably something small. Just
Pussy willows. I like pussy willows.
I like pussy willows too. Do you have a folder with pussy willows on it?
Yep, I'm going to cut it right now.
Oh, I want to see it.
And I like this other one too that has a ton of script. The whole thing is like a script background. Born in Madison, Wisconsin. Awesome, Betty. Jersey, if you're watching on replay, I really hope that you're able to get closed caption on the replay. That would be really nice.
And I'm in North Carolina. I don't feel like putting that in. I'm East Coast.
Betty was here last week.
Yep.
I think Jen might not have been here that day or that night.
Jen says she bought clear placemats and cut them down to match the size of her Sizzix plates. So she has as many shims as she needs. That's a great idea.
That's super smart.
About what?
Placemats.
Placemats, yeah. Clear placemats.
Oh, yeah, like cutting boards, like the ones at the Dollar Tree, those clear cutting
those
boards
thin ones
that I always put out at retreat.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I've taken those and cut those down. And that might be what she means. We might be saying the same thing.
I'm having an idea.
I think of them as, well, they are cutting boards, but you could use them as placemats too. Why not? We use them as placemats when we do gel printing or we do alcohol ink at retreat. Okay, so here is a really good example. This is a script. And if I look at the top is imprinted, but not very well. And here's a whole little section right here that didn't get anything at all.
Huh.
which means that was off to the side or somewhere where it didn't get any pressure. So
Mhm.
I am going to line this back up. And I can turn it over and see if the words are aligned with right where they were. I've done this multiple times where,
Glynis wants to see the pussy willow one again.
yep, that's right. It's on the table. Getting to it. Line it
Ooh, I
back
like this
up.
one.
Okay, so I'm lining it back up and I can see that it did shift a little bit. That could be part of the reason why. But I'm going to set that back on here and I'm going to run that through again. Let's see how the pussy
Or
willow
you could
turned
just
out.
grab another piece of paper and do it again.
I could, but
Use
you know,
that
why
for-
not?
for something else.
And if it sticks to the embossing folder and doesn't come out right away, just flex the embossing folder. You don't have to destroy your your paper, your sample.
I've been having to do that on a couple of mine.
Okay, here's the pussy willow. Let's see if I can get an angle where you can actually see.
Oh, that's gorgeous.
You can see it comes up here, and it comes up here. This is really
Or
pretty.
those cat nine tails. No, that looks like wheatgrass. Pussy willows are the little tiny feet all up the stalk.
Oh, wait a minute.
They
Oh,
look like little cat
Right.
feet.
Wait a minute. What am I? Yes, you're right. Those little
Pussy
tiny
willows-
feet. What are the
They're-
long ones like hot dogs that are?
Cat nine tails.
No,
They have a different name.
cat of nine tails. Is that what you call them?
Because yeah, we didn't
Sorry,
find.
that's what they call them in
But
that.
that's
And
what these are. Not pussy willows. They are.
No, that
They are-
looks like wheatgrass or something.
that looks like wheatgrass.
These are those
cat tails.
Cat tails.
Cat tails. Yeah.
But
gonna have
those
to
aren't
think
cat
about
tails
that.
because they would be more like a hot dog. Those are wheatgrass that have little sprouts coming off of them.
Well, there could be wheatgrass by those, but these are those long. I'm sorry, not pussy willows. Yes, they are the hard, stick-like ones that have all the little tiny furry things on them. These are the long ones these are long like hot dogs, and you can pull them apart, and they have all thousands of little tiny seeds that go everywhere.
Yes.
Cattails.
Cat tails.
Cat o' nine tails is a whip.
Yes.
Okay, they used to be used as whips, so
Really?
yeah,
Cat tails.
they were a beating thing.
You know what? You know what the Indians used to use the cattails for?
They're
What?
edible.
That- Diaper wadding.
Diaper wadding,
Yes. So when the
Oh.
cattail grows and it's dried,
right?
then all those little seeds fluff up.
Uh-huh.
They're very soft.
Oh,
So
they
they
are.
would use them in the swaddling of their babies
Oh.
as a natural
Very
disposable
nice.
diaper.
Oh, wow. Yeah,
With
when they open up and break apart, they're going to be very absorbent.
Yes.
And they're very
And they're
soft. Yes. That's what I was thinking, Jen. Whole different kind of embossing folder. The cat of nine tails. whip it good.
So I don't know.
No,
That's
no,
always what
no,
I
no.
called it. Now I'm going to have to check
No,
with
no,
another
no, no,
person
no.
at the team to make sure that I'm
Cattails.
not going nuts.
Cat- Yeah, cattails,
We
dear.
always
I think cattails is what I grew up knowing them as.
Yeah.
Yes.
Cattails. I did say pussy willow, and that was wrong. That's a Doris. Let me see if I can get a second one because I want to run that one through again. This is kind of a funny one. Come on.
I remember growing up, it used to be a thing. You know how, I dare you to eat one of the Tide Pods. It was always growing up. I dare you to put a cat and nine tail in your mouth when they were all puffy because they
Oh.
stick.
Oh, and then you couldn't get them out
Oh.
if you did. And yeah.
Yep.
Okay, so maybe that part needs to go in first. Let's see. That didn't cut. So I'll just turn them that direction. Maybe
That
I had
one's
it
probably
twisted
not as
too far.
dangerous as Tide Pods.
Oh, God.
Yeah. Except it would be really easy to choke on those.
It would be.
Gag and choke, and you'd be done. They do grow in marshy areas. My cat only has one tail.
Yep. I know we look for those when you're hunting for fiddlehead ferns to pick before they grow. You look for cat o' nine tails, and then you should find fiddleheads around them.
Huh.
On the banks of the Piscataquis River.
Oh, you're going to love that one, DM.
I am.
Yes, you are. I'm excited because I'm seeing stuff that I forgot I had and would be great for projects. Okay, let's take a look at this one now. Add it upside down. There we go. Cut perfectly well all the way over to the edge. And it's right
Nice.
on the same imprint. Yeah. So I must have had it just twisted too much and that part got too far off to the side where it wasn't going through.
I may have that one.
This one is just like a coat hanger on the wall.
Oh, yeah.
Wouldn't that be-
Correct.
Yeah. It just, or a craft rack.
Oh, I
There you
love
go.
that.
Yeah, that's neat.
Oh, I'm thinking of cool things that I could do, especially with those new stamps that I got.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So this one, I'm going to do this one on this purple. And I'm going to spritz it because it's a heavier.
You're right, Margie. They do grow on cat butts.
The cat o' nine tails? Or just the cat tail?
Cat tails.
Yeah. That's funny. Okay. Yeah, you're going to like this one. Oh, I know I'm not ready yet. Wait, I need to put two. At least the machine listened to me.
Oh, I like my paisley one.
Oh, that's cool. I like that.
So here's what we're going to do, guys. Let me run this through. And then, hell yeah. One of the reasons I like this Big Shot switch is because it's electric, so my shoulders don't have to crank. But also, it has a button on it. This is exactly why it's called the switch. When it gets through, you push the button and it turns it, switches
Reverses it.
and sends it back. So
Yep,
it goes through twice and sends it right back to you, which is nice. 'cause I
Mine
don't
does that too.
and pull it out. Oh yeah, yours is the Tim Holtz Vagabond, right?
Yep.
Okay, so here's one.
It
Lots
took
of
me 2 years of hunting on Facebook Marketplace for me to finally find one that I could
Really?
buy at a decent price.
This is the one you'll like.
Yeah, right up DM's alley. And Glennis too. Glennis should like that one.
Yep. And Sylvia, she likes Halloween.
Halloween. Oh, I love that one. That crow is amazing.
Yeah. So check this out.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome.
Very cool.
Great embossed, and the spider web down in the corner is perfect. I spritz this one. If I want a really good emboss on a very detailed one, because they're not all as detailed, I will use a little thicker, better quality cardstock and give it just a little spritz. I don't want it to be wet. I just want it to have enough spritz that when this starts pushing it in, that the fibers have a little bit of stretch. You're going to get a much better print.
Look at this one.
Oh, I love that.
What is it?
Is that a Lisa
It's
Horton?
lace.
Oh, very cool.
No, this is a no-name brand, but it's a really
Okay.
thick one.
That
Oh no, it is
is-
Tim Holtz. Sorry, my hand was over.
Right, Margie? I think you're right. I don't think I'll take it to retreat. Before she comes to my house.
Yeah, I do have access to the house, so sure, she doesn't need to bring it retreat.
So lock it in the gun cabinet.
Yep. Which is in the room that I sleep in. So,
But you don't have the key
no, I don't have the key.
because we can't find the key.
Oh, very good.
Oh no.
So you can't lock it in there.
I know. That's funny.
Did you hide it in the closet someplace, maybe?
No, Doug hasn't been able to find it. That was his responsibility to keep the key. He hasn't been able to find the key since we moved here.
Oh, no.
no.
Oh man, that's funny. It is funny.
Oh my goodness.
We are going to go ahead and end this here. We're at about 1 hour. That way, those that are watching on a replay, it'll be a short enough time that they can watch it and it won't, be dragging on for hours and hours. As soon as we end it, we're going to jump back on here live so that we can continue working on our embossing folder organization. And we invite you to hang out with us. Get your embossing folders to organize or get something else to work on. And if you'd like to pop in so you can actually be able to talk with us, if you've been on a live before and so you know how to set up your equipment and you've got it already set up, then you're invited. Sarah's still here. Sarah Tooker.
Betty, if you come back, we will tell you all about retreat. Betty's asking about retreat.
Oh, yeah, Betty, absolutely. We're going to end this. And then if you stay on the Happy Paper People YouTube channel, I'm not even going to create an event. I'm just going to go in and start an event. So it will start live immediately and you'll see it pop up live on YouTube. So you can pop right in. So yes. Oh, thank you for telling Jersey. I appreciate it. So she can pop over. So just watch. Let her know, Jen. Yeah, just watch on YouTube and another live will pop up. That way we can end this and then just start a hangout for everyone who wants to hang out and talk and work on your organization or whatever you want to work on. I know Sarah's going to come in. Whoever else wants to, just let me know. All right, we'll see you in just a minute. Thanks for hanging out with us. And we'd love to see your embossing folder organization systems. If you tell us in comments how you do it differently, because we love new ideas. And also in the Facebook group, you can post pictures. We'll see you in just a minute on the next live.